chilly out there, isn't it?
Why?
I know.
Are we going to start with? We can start.
Ready? Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Showtime, Walter.
Good evening, everyone. We're in a different assignment here tonight. I'll explain why we're in different seats. Welcome to this meeting of the Syracuse City Planning Commission. Our chair is Stephen Kulik. He's not here tonight. So because of the generosity of my friends next to me, I am the vice chair and I get to preside over tonight's meeting. As singers like to say, one night only. We'll get to our public hearings in just a minute. But before we do, there's some things we take care of. We have a business item, and I'm looking at the number here on the calendars to be sure that we're going to talk about the minutes from December the 18th, 2024.
Correct.
Just want to be clear, it's December the 18th, 2024 was our last meeting. So, do we need to pause? Do we need to?
No.
So I'll ask, and the minutes are always distributed in advance of the meeting, so I'll ask commission members if there's any corrections and if there's a motion on the minutes.
I move approval of the minutes as presented with no corrections.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All right, if there's no discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Any opposed, say, any abstentions? We've covered that. The minutes are approved. I think I can go now. All right, so for first-time attendees and those not familiar with our process, here's a brief guide, a brief summary. Each application on the agenda will be announced by staff. We'll ask the applicant to come forward, or applicant's representative to come forward and give us a presentation on that item. After the presentation, we will ask members of the public if they want to come forward. And first, those who might want to speak in favor come forward. Then those who might speak in opposition will come forward. We ask all members of the public to please keep your statements between 2 and 3 minutes. At the end of public comment, we will then let the representative or the applicant come back and respond to the comments. So if everyone's ready to go, I'll ask staff if there's anything we need to add before we start the meeting. All right, so we could call our first item, please.
The first item tonight is an old business piece. It's a special use permit SP-24-30 at 623-25 Wolf Street in Second North. Owner applicant is Gregory Neese. Greg, I don't think he's here unless he's outside in the hallway. So what I would recommend is maybe we hold this and see if he arrives late.
Right.
You know, as a reminder to the board, this project was heard at the December 18th meeting. It was held so we could give the applicant time to review the recommendations from the Syracuse Police Department CPTED evaluation, which is crime prevention through environmental design. My advice is we hold this, see if he shows up, and then go from there. So with that, we'll move on to the second piece of old business on the agenda tonight. It's also a special use permit, SP-24-22, for 308 Gifford Street and Wyoming Street. What we are doing here is reviewing our action on this item from the previous meeting. In summary, what we're going to do is rescind the recommendation based on a state preemption under the state ABC law. So that is what we're asking to formally do on the record.
So we don't have a motion yet, but just for the record, I'll ask for the commission then. This is sent back to us from the Common Council for us to rescind our vote here at the commission. But we just wanted to clarify, so it's because of the state alcohol beverage law that we are going to take our action back so that they can have a blank slate to start over?
No, no. The Common Council voted against, they didn't approve the SUP.
Right.
Subsequently, the applicant's counsel approached Corporation Counsel's office, and it was determined that, and in consultation with the state, that actually, because it's a liquor store, that the state ABC law preempts our zoning review of it, and therefore you did not have jurisdiction to take up the SUP. None of us knew that at the time because the code, the new zoning code actually had separated out liquor stores as a use type. So we all kind of innocently trotted along saying, hey, there's this use type. But it shouldn't have, and it'll be one of the revisions in the packet that you'll receive in a few weeks.
All right, thank you.
So does the preemption, is that triggered by the fact that they already had a state liquor license, or it would have been a preemption regardless of whether they already had a state?
It'd be a preemption regardless.
In this case, there's a new application coming through as a minor site plan review, so that we have to do the action to rescind so that it can proceed under a minor site plan review. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that's what the packet,
Right.
the staff analysis indicates.
Right, right.
So we
Yes.
have to rescind so that they can move forward with a minor site plan review.
And rescind because it shouldn't have been before you in the first place.
That's really the essence of it. I mean, we have plenty of projects that go through both site plan and special use permit simultaneously. So essentially, state law says local authorities, local jurisdictions can't enforce special use permits for these types of uses. So we're looking at how we're going to address that moving forward, and we'll have more information for you on that in the very near future.
Well, thank you. We, of course, thank Corp
Not just
Counsel.
liquor stores.
We understand. We thank both of you, because this is a little bit more involved. And it's better that we go back and undo something than let it sit there and leave questions, right?
Yes.
So now that we've had the benefit of some explanation.
Right, so based on that, I would make a motion to rescind our action at the December 18th, 24 commission meeting for SU 2422, sorry.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes. Thank you.
All right, moving right along to new business items. First up is a re-subdivision, R-24-70, located at 1508 Burnett Ave and 1510 Burnett Ave. Applicant owner is Marianne Pascarella, represented by Joseph Britton. This is in the LI Zone District.
Is the applicant present? How are you?
How are you? My name is Joseph Britton. I represent Marianne Pascarella. I'm the manager of this property. Essentially, we purchased this property. It was two parcels. One parcel is completely vacant. When we purchased it, the last owner of it was using it as an office for car sales. You might see one or two cars here or there for sale, but really never amounted to anything. We purchased the property from them. It is a one-story, one-family home that we were renting out. And the lot at 1510 is just a vacant lot. It's just gravel, the whole lot. 1508 has the one-story home. And the original intention was to re-subdivide this to one lot, was that the family that was living there, that was renting, had no fenced-in area for a yard. People would cut across that, they come down Peach Street, cut across the yard, the driveway, going over to Burnett Ave to walk down Burnett. Not just, kids during school, going to school in the morning and afternoon, but adults, regular use, just walk across the whole property. So our original intention was to, behind the house, erect a 6-foot wood stockade fence from the existing, I guess it would be westerly border at the bottom of the map, up to the Peach Street. So a section Yep, right where you're going there, but coming out about, I don't know, 30 feet maybe, and making a fenced-in yard for the family that was renting. Since I applied for this pre-subdivision, that tenant had been evicted for failure to pay. So that tenant left in December. We haven't rented it back out yet. And we're not entirely sure what we want to do moving in the future. So at this point, we're just looking to get the two lots combined into one lot with one address.
And so that'll remain the case even if you just choose to rent out the house?
Correct, yep.
But if you want to develop it for some other reasons, you might actually end up wanting to demolish the house, depending on the use, or?
It's a possibility. We haven't really talked about that much. At this point, it's still a viable home.
Yeah. It looks like it's in pretty good shape from the outside.
Yes.
I don't know what it's like inside.
Yeah. Just before we bought the thing, it was completely remodeled, and I don't know why they use it for car sales. It's definitely a home, but
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
sure.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if there are any members of the public who'd like to speak in favor of this project.
Hello, my name is Marty Nave. I'm First District Counselor for the City of Syracuse. Recently, I spoke with Mrs. Pascarella regarding this, and looking over at the property, I do support this project. It would be beneficial. The Pascarella family has been in business for many, many years, and I can see why they are in need of more space. And I would appreciate if the board would go into the consideration of approving this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in favor of the application? Are there any opposed to the application? All right, so no opposition, so you don't have to, unless there's anything else you want to add, you don't have to add anything else. Okay. We're going to discuss it now. All right. We'll close the public comment. Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
I guess I have one question regarding the need to file, as a resub, the need to file the new subdivision plan with the county. Sometimes when that's required, we include that as a condition to remind the applicant that they in fact have to do that. In this case, it's not included in the conditions, but in the next application we have to consider, it is included in the conditions. So it strikes me that it probably, as a matter of consistency and help for the applicant, that we do state that as one of the conditions?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Then I would move approval of R-24-70 as presented with one subcondition. The subcondition is to remind the applicant that they...
I'm sorry, we didn't do seeker. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you for the reminder. And we're going to remember that motion. We're going to
You
make
need
you
to be
say
more
word for
assertive,
word.
Mr. Chair. Stop me sooner.
Oh, God, I can't stop people, but I would go to council now and ask for help with seeker.
Sure. Has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 that's contained in your packet?
Yes,
Has everyone had a look at the short EAF Part 2, also contained in your packet?
yes.
Does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No.
No.
Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
We have a motion on seeker.
I move making a negative seeker declaration.
Second.
All right. Call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so the seeker declaration is made. And is there a motion on the application?
I move approval of R-24-70 as presented with one condition. The condition is that in order for the re-subdivision to be formal, it has to be filed with the county clerk's office.
Second that. All in favor?
I would just add, there's a clock on that, like 30 days? What is it, Jay?
Yes,
You remember? Christian,
Um,
the filing, 30, 60, 63 days, thank you, Nate.
Okay.
63 days, or it expires to file with the county. Right.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yep, just sometimes you forget.
Right.
So, all in favor, sorry.
That's all right.
Yes.
All in favor of the application?
Yes.
Aye. Any abstentions, any opposition? All right. The application passes, and you can talk to staff about what you do next. All right, thank you.
Next up is a zoning map amendment, Z-2879 at 1023 South Geddes Street. Owner applicant is the Greater Syracuse Property Development Corporation. This is in the MX2 zone district. Just a brief summary to the board before the applicant presents. We have a companion lot alteration application, which is R-24-73. And with that lot alteration, it would create a split zone parcel, which our policy has been, we don't want to do that. So you can see on the map, that is the corner of Geddes and Fitch. And what this would do is create the split zone. So I'll let the applicant add anything else to the board, and we'll go from there.
We're trying to not have a split zone.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, I'm not creating one.
Right.
So I'm Terry Luckett from the Syracuse Land Bank, 1941 South Salina Street. It's a companion application with the resub application combining 1023 and the corner store at 1031 South Geddes Street. The vacant lot is zoned MX2. The adjacent two-family that we want to combine it with is zoned R5. We're requesting that 1023 South Geddes be changed to R5. So it won't be split zoned. The land bank has owned 1023 South Geddes, the vacant lot there, since 2014 when we demolished a single-family house. So it's always been residential there. We tried for several years to sell it to the owner of the corner store, but she never submitted an application, and it sat there for years. So Kenya Gomez recently purchased 1031. She lives there. She, I believe, wants to open a daycare, but at the least wants to have extra yard space and space for a driveway for her family. It'll provide a good buffer between the residential and the commercial uses next door. The vacant parcel is not buildable. It's only 34 feet wide, 34.8 feet wide. There's no real discernible lot width pattern on this street, so I don't think there'll be any change in the character of the neighborhood.
Okay. All right, of course, we're hearing, since they're companions, we're hearing them together, but we'll be considering them separate.
I think all that's on the agenda is the zone change. I think it has to go back to the planning commission, and then I'll be back.
Okay. Thank you. Unless there are any questions from members of the commission?
On the side towards the corner, so there's still two lots that will remain there, is that correct? I was just trying to tell from the map.
Say that again?
Between this property and the corner.
Okay, so there's this vacant lot, and then there's a house, and the land bank owns those other two lots on the corner that are farther
I see,
south.
okay. The land
But
bank-
we're going to save those for a new construction. We don't have any buyers yet, but
Okay.
we're holding them.
I was curious about that, so those are land bank properties?
They are.
Okay, thank you.
Other question?
All set.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, the lot alteration is an administrative approval from our office, so that will not be before this.
So the R-2473 is not something we have to consider. That can be done administratively.
That's correct, but it is a companion piece, and without this being considered, what I meant earlier is
Right.
the lot alteration alone would create the split zone parcel, which is why
I
this
would
is.
chase that red T-bone across the table and ask what was going on. Are there anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to the application? So no one spoke. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. All right, for this application, do we need to consider seeker before we proceed?
Is it a resub?
It's a zone map amendment.
Zone map
so-
amendment.
Yes.
And before a motion is made and you decide on this, there's the same condition of approval, which Commissioner Lentz has mentioned, but there's one additional piece, since we know this from the owner, that the owner of 103133 Geddes Street apply for a driveway permit when installing their desired or proposed driveway. So that be added as the second condition.
It's a condition, yeah, right, that's it.
Ready?
So we're ready to proceed with seeker.
Has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 that's contained in your packet?
Yes.
And is everyone familiar with the 11 questions of the short EAF 2, also, Part 2, also in your packet?
Yes.
Does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No.
Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
Yes, I move a finding of a negative seeker declaration.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you in favor, Mr. Lentz?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I am.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion for seeker, we have issued a negative declaration. Now we can act on the application.
I move approval of Z dash,
Yeah.
okay, so you want to, that's right. So we restate the motion as a recommendation, an affirmative recommendation, recommendation for affirmative action by the Common Council. Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? So our recommendation to the Common Council is approved. We can go to-
With the two previous conditions
conditions.
mentioned for approval, including noting that the filing of the application or of the resub has to happen in the clerk's office within 60 days.
Very good. Next up is an off-premise sign application, AS-24-02, located at 631 East Brighton Ave. Owner is the New York Susquehanna and Western Railroad. Applicant is Stephen D. Frank Park Outdoor Advertising. This lies within the LI Zone District.
Good evening. My name is Steve Frank, and I reside 5318 State Route 80 in Tully. I represent Park Outdoor Advertising. We have offices in East Syracuse, but our corporate office is in Ithaca. The project that we are applying to the city for is an off-premise sign located on property that's owned by the New York Susquehanna and Western Railroad. It's in an area that is currently the existing 481, Interstate 481, that will become Route 81. Our proposal is to build a sign with one face static and one face digital. The static sign will face to the west, and the digital sign will face to the east. Kind of different in there, east-west, even though that's going to be north-south. But the sign facing east will be the sign that will face towards DeWitt, if you will.
We're going to have a couple of questions, so bear with us
Yep,
here.
nope, take your time.
Okay. You want to start?
Well, I'm concerned, first of all, I guess this is on the right-of-way for the Susquehanna Railroad, is that correct?
Is it on the right-of-way?
Yeah, or it's in, I mean, it's in the property. Of the-
I'm sorry, can you restate that again?
The property that this sign is located on is the property that's owned by the railroad. It's
Yes.
within the railroad
It's on the railroad property, yes.
property.
Yep.
Right, okay. There is a recommendation, we don't really have all the information in our packet, but there's a recommendation by DOT regarding the distance between signs. And so there's another sign in the horizon, and we really can't tell what that distance is and whether that complies with the DOT requirement.
If you look at the radius on the, if you zoom out there, there's the sign right there. That sign's owned by Lamar Advertising, and the distance measured at the top of that circle is 500 feet, which would be the required distance for DOT to allow that. Our sign is beyond the 500 feet.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Staff has confirmed that as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
How long is the lease on the billboard?
It's generally a 20-year lease. It's a license that we have with the railroad. The process that we go through is we first seek approval with the city. And then once we have approval from the city, I have to get a building permit from the city. Part of the building permit is there's a local municipality certification that the city signs off on. They say they're okay. That goes with our DOT application that goes to New York State DOT. Then DOT would have their say on approval as well. And at that point in time, we would go to the railroad showing them that we have approval from the city and the state, and then we would work with them on a license agreement. License agreement's generally 20 years, but the railroad has the ability every year to discontinue that at their discretion, yeah.
And do you know, I know that the county, I'm sure you read the county recommendations
Yep.
for the 8 seconds and the lumens, et cetera.
Yep,
And according to our data, you're complying with all of their requests.
that's correct. Yeah,
Which is-
the manufacturer that we've chose for Echo,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm driving towards both of the signs,
yeah.
are they going to be different? Is the Lamar an 8 second?
This is the only digital that would be in that location.
Our Lamar's is not.
Correct,
Okay.
yep.
That answers that. Okay, thank you. And I have one more question,
Yeah.
sorry. The difference in height between the two? Do
Be
you
the
happen
same.
to know that?
They're all,
the same.
we can only be 30 feet above the road deck.
Right.
At that location, it might appear to be slightly higher. 'cause-
Slightly higher.
Yeah, the road,
But you're both 30 feet?
Yes.
As this
Yep.
wind goes, okay.
Yeah, I guess just a question about the location of the sign. It impresses me, and I drive through that area a lot, and it impresses me that that's right, the sign is right at the beginning of the exit ramp. And I'm just wondering if you looked at the placement of that relative to that particular issue, because if it was placed maybe further to the east, it would be less of a distraction, because I know there's a lot of lane changing that goes on there.
Yep.
People trying to sort out if they're going to go north and south, which lane do they have? It
Right.
could be confusing. So I'm just wondering if you looked at the placement of that relative to that issue.
we do, and I know that DOT will also study that closely, part of their traffic and safety analysis that they put that through. When we do our application with DOT, they look at that. But one of the pieces or key elements here is that this is inside the city of Syracuse.
Right.
If you look at the line that's right
Right.
there, that's the town of Onondaga. So.
You couldn't move it too much
DOT
further east.
Correct, yeah.
Got it, understood. Okay. So, but it's still possible that DOT might have something to say about that?
Say that again?
It's still possible that DOT might have something to say about that when they
Yes.
review the safety?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Because I understand, there was some issue of who needs to go first. It's been decided that the city goes first and then DOT does?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's an actual possibility that I could get approval from the city and the state could say no.
Right, okay,
This is just the process that we have to go through.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciating you mentioning that on the record, because that's a conversation we've had. We had, for a while, many opportunities to review applications for billboards, and that's one of the things that applicants do need to know, is that there's multiple overlapping
There is.
considerations.
Yeah.
And, in addition to the visual, as the commission member was saying, there is the issue of the spacing, and like you said, the height, the grade, as
Yeah.
you come
Yep.
into this now, area where there's going to be increased traffic, and then a rotary as your reward when you get to
Yeah.
Brighton. All right, any other questions from the commission?
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. And staff has already said that in terms of preliminary review with DOT, everything seems to comply.
That's correct. There are a number of recommended conditions within your packet.
Yes.
I'll point out. So there's 6 kind of general conditions that are applicable to this, along with 6 specific conditions of approval, which also include the Onondaga County Planning Board recommendations within.
Right.
All right. Thank you. Give us a moment. We'll see if anyone else wants to speak on the issue? Are there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of the application? Are there any members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to the application? All right, seeing no speakers, we'll take a moment here. Are any more questions from the commission? Sorry. Any commission members for staff or for the applicant?
All set. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, I think we can close public comment. All right, so we'll do that. And then, what's the sense of the commission? Do we want to go forward with a motion tonight?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go, turning my head, for the record, turning my head back to council to review seeker.
Has everyone had a chance to review the short EAF Part 1 contained in your packet?
Yes.
Has everyone reviewed the short EAF Part 2 contained in your packet?
Yes.
Does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts?
No.
Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
We have a motion.
I move finding of a negative seeker declaration.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeker declaration passes. Negative declaration. Is there a motion on the application?
I move approval of AS-24-02 with 6 conditions beyond the general conditions that were mentioned by Commissioner DeShaw.
Second that.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So the application passes with the conditions recommended by the county planning board and by the staff. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next up is a major site plan review, MASPR-24-44, located at 927 South State Street. Owner applicant is William J. Simmons of Syracuse Housing Authority. This lies within the MX2 zone district. I'll mention to the board, they're seeking to establish a family support facility and demolishing the existing residential structures. There is a companion variance application that was approved to allow 16 parking spaces to be located between the front building facade and the adjacent street frontage already. So, already approved, yes.
Was approved Thursday.
Good evening.
Good evening. Madonna Millershin, King & King Architects, architect of record for the project. So we're looking to build a 75,000 square foot family support center, as mentioned, for the area community. It's located, as you can see, between South State Street, East Taylor Street, and South Townsend Street, with the main entrance off of East Taylor. The building goal is to serve the area community with all the new projects that are going on around it. Most people will be walking to the facility, and the programmings include much-needed community development for early learning center, a daycare, play space, community space, and a YMCA branch to the right. It's in an MX2 zone district, which does allow pedestrian-friendly, transient-oriented residential and non-residential uses, so we're complying with that and the goals. And then this facility will be supporting the local community, so we have housing around people. It'll be pedestrian-friendly going through, so we've been conscientious of that. We've got off-street parking. We're near a bus route. We're providing adequate and lots of bike racks, knowing that the general community that will be there will be riding their bikes. But the goal for this facility is to provide a growing opportunity and wellness center for infants all the way up, with the programming that's going to be there. And the community has been actively involved throughout this project, helping define the program and what the facility is going to look like.
Questions for the applicant?
A couple of questions. The circulation pattern in the parking lot, I can't tell from the drawings what the circulation pattern is going to be. Will cars be entering from which street, and what direction will they be circulating in the parking lot?
We have two-way parking, or two-way street travel in there, but the idea is that most people will be entering in off the south that you can't see there. We have a bus loop and car drop-off, so parents can, one with buses, it'll be for before and after-school programming, and cars for, I'm dropping my child off at the program for the Y, and then they would drive around over and they could exit out. From when this project was in pre-development, we did locate the curb cut that was right at the intersection further down to allow a better left-hand turn out of the facility.
I think if I read it right, I'm going in on Taylor
Yes.
and I'm coming out on the back to State.
Yes.
State.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I was oriented
Yep.
correctly.
And has there been any discussion or any consideration of the possibility of doing anything with the railroad bridge wall? I mean, it's unfortunate because that's like the main entrance that everybody's going to be coming by there, walking, et cetera, and you've got this ugly wall. I know it's not your property, it's not the city's property, but.
No, I could speak that. Stephanie Pasquale with Blueprint 15 and the Allen Family Foundation. We have had conversations in partnership with the city of Syracuse about activating the wall with mural space. And it is part of that sort of overall community engagement around what do folks want to see there? Can it be participatory? But that there are some resources allocated. It just hasn't been decided yet what exactly would occur along that wall. But there's been a lot of suggestions about preserving local history and reflecting that in mural space along the Taylor Street wall.
Right. So it's possible that some of the Connecting Communities funds could be used for that?
That would be great. There are some resources through the Choice Neighborhood Initiative for historic sort of markers or for preserving local history through that CNI grant that the Housing Authority secured in partnership with the city of Syracuse. But a lot of it is to be determined, and it's an
Right.
8-year spend down.
Okay, right. I know that's not part of the plan and part of your responsibility, but it's a huge part of
We're
the.
concerned about it too, Barry. I appreciate
Yeah.
you bringing it up, and it is something we want to have at the forefront.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll see if anyone wants to speak in favor or against. So we'll start with anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the application? All right. If there's no one here to address this, is this a matter that requires seeker?
Yes.
You would help us with that?
Yes, absolutely. Has everyone had a chance to review the short EF Part 1 contained in your packet?
Yes.
Is everyone familiar with the 11 questions of the short EF Part 2 also contained in your packet?
Yes.
Does anyone believe this project will have any moderate to large impacts? Because you do not believe there will be any moderate to large impacts, I recommend you vote to issue a negative declaration under seeker and complete the EAF Part 3 accordingly.
I move a finding of a negative seeker declaration.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the negative declaration passes. And do we have a motion on the application with any conditions?
I move approval of MASPR-24-44 as presented with 6 conditions that are listed on page 148 of the application. The conditions are the owner applicant shall obtain all necessary approval permits before construction starts. 2, work with DPW and design East Taylor Street right-of-way. 3, interior bike parking required in a secure area with appropriate lock-to mechanisms, et cetera. Exterior bike parking is to be well-lit and covered. The contractor shall submit compliant workforce traffic plan for approval during permit process, and applicant shall report to the Syracuse Office of Zoning Administration if any changes have been proposed to project's plans, new zoning applications, et cetera.
Can you also mention the 6 general conditions for site plan review as well, on top of those 5?
Yes, the general condition for site plan approval as well.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the application has passed with the conditions. as requested by staff. Thank you very much. Next application.
All right, next up, another major site plan review, MASPR-24-32, located at 401 South Clinton Street. Owner applicant John Funicello at Armory Parking Association, LLC. This lies within the MX5 zone district.
Good evening. Jim Niddle, I'm a principal at In Architects, 239 East Water Street. Here tonight with Kristen Freeman from Keppinger Freeman Associates, a site consultant. Matt Funicello is here representing the owner of the property. This property is 401 South Clinton. This is commonly known as the Shopper's Garage. Garage has been its condition has been tough for many, many years now. The owners have spent considerable money and funds and time keeping it up to date. The plan is to tear this down, going down to the existing footings and foundations, and to build a new 6-story above-grade mixed-use building with two levels of parking below grade and commercial space on the ground floor, and then 5 floors of apartments above. To be approximate 88 units right now is the plan, and approximately 84 parking spaces in the basement. The parking requirement is a half of space per unit, so we're over that. That allows almost enough parking for everyone that wants it, that's living there, plus a few spaces assigned to whatever commercial tenant may take the ground floor space. So we've addressed the comments from zoning, from DPW, planning, city engineering, and the latest set of drawings submitted should address most of those issues. We understand that it'll need full engineering permits, DPW permits, et cetera, et cetera. All that will take place as we move forward. The construction documents are in for building permit right now, awaiting the first round of comments. And the only other thing, the owners have already accepted and have done some of the paperwork for the affordable housing component that's required here. I think there'll be a minimum of 12 units that will fall into that program. So,
Yeah.
questions?
I just wanted, we'd like to clarify that because the packet actually has 2 figures in it. It has one figure, which is a CITA figure of 10%, which you haven't gone for yet, and 12%, which is a rezone figure. So the appropriate figure is 12.
I misspoke. It is 12 units,
Right.
which is,
11 units, 12%.
okay. Yeah, the owner today told me 12%, but he may have misspoke it as well.
Yeah, it is 12%. That comes out.
12% is the number.
Well, I'm sorry, he
That
told
comes
me
out to
12
11
units.
units.
So, yeah. So, the required amount will be there. Okay.
The right amount spread across all appropriate units, right? Not just
Yeah.
one type of unit.
Yeah, equal type units. Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you.
Also, we have been in front of landmark preservation a couple times, and they've approved what we're planning at this point.
Landmark's good on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you arrive at the particular mix of rooms that are on the upper floors?
How do we do it?
Arrive at the mix of rooms that are on the upper floor?
Just based on what's been renting in downtown Syracuse and, the owners' studies of, they're real estate people within the community, so they have other rental units. So, and we've been finding over the years that 1-bedrooms are the popular unit, but there is a mix of 2s in here as well.
Thank you.
So Jim, I have a couple questions. The second floor terrace,
Yep,
which I'm assuming is an amenity for the residents?
for the residents only.
Only?
Yes.
Okay. And second floor is picked because I'm just curious, really, on that one.
Well, if you notice, the way we've been able to utilize the site, we have an internal court light well, so to speak, and it just naturally falls there on the second floor. So it made sense for that spot to be there. And, you know, we think we're high enough above the street, and there will be, obviously, there's a bit of a wall there and railing, so it's not a place where things are going to be tossed over or any problem.
Right.
And again, it will just be for residents.
Right. And I know you're going to have to go for a demo permit as part of the first
Right.
phase of this. And I'm assuming that there's close attention to the demo in the almost shared wall of the building next door.
Correct,
And
yeah.
that everybody has got their eyeballs on
Yeah, our
that.
structural engineers have been aware of that from day one, so, yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then is it anticipated, I know you're going all the way down, right?
Down to the footings and foundations,
right.
yeah. Some of the below grade perimeter wall will remain. And,
Are you going to use the footings and pilings that are
yeah,
there?
yeah, and with modifications and with some additions, yes, yeah.
Engineering's going to make sure those are substantial enough.
Yeah, yeah, and we have a couple of the best structural engineers in town working on this, so, and that are well aware of the conditions downtown, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, and this is really not relevant to the application per se, but I'm just curious, especially, you know, we just approved the geothermal unit for one of the SHA properties, and we've approved a lot of site plans since I've been in the commission with lots of rooftops, and I don't remember any single conversation about a developer considering solar arrays on rooftops. I'm just curious, do you have any thought about that?
Yes,
Because you
we
have a
have.
rooftop here
Yeah,
that.
in all honesty, we have, but there's not a lot of roof space for considering the light well. And we have an awful lot of rooftop equipment up there. So the analysis showed that there wasn't much benefit from trying to put what few solar panels we could put up there.
Great. Well, it's good to hear you did consider it.
Yeah, it's been considered.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll see if any members of the public would like to respond. Thank you. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak in favor of the application? Are there any members of the public that would like to speak in opposition to the application? All right, seeing none, we will ask for guidance from council on the seeker.
I will allow Christian to go through the type 1 with you.
Can I ask one question quickly? I'm sorry, Jim. The public alleyway between the shared space of Modern Malt,
Yeah.
Sky Armory, and the project. I believe the plans indicate that will be the ADA access.
There is a shared access easement that's, even if I were a lawyer, I probably couldn't understand it all.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's very complicated,
Yeah,
but.
I'm sure of that.
There's multiple owners and multiple properties. On the north side, our property is actually 3.5 feet into that alleyway. And then at some point, the Modern Malt building owner has some of it, and then I think there's actually a piece in there that belongs to Sky Armory.
Right.
But it's a complicated legal matter, and we understand that at some point, the city might want to see some documentation. What we've asked for is kind of a simplified summary of what's going on there, because what I saw was not anything that I could comprehend. So, and we also know there is a bridge that connects the back of Sky Armory to here, and that's the owners. It will be their responsibility to take that bridge down, and obviously we'll have to get permits and for demo and for patching up the other building.
And I think that's what, third floor, I think?
Uh,
Third or
floor,
fourth, yeah. But isn't your ADA access coming down the alley? Did I,
No,
or did
no.
I just see something?
No, our accessible access will be through the building lobby
Okay.
into a commercial
Okay.
space, because we do step up a little bit at that commercial space.
Okay.
But it will be through the building lobby.
Okay.
I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
want to have to take anybody down that alley
Yeah. I
to
like
get
that
into the
alley.
building. No.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions for anyone else involved with the team? Just to be fair to our other design professionals. All right, if there are no other questions from the commission, then we will allow staff and council to walk us through the long form.
All right, the full environmental assessment form, part 2, is on page 226 of your packet and has been pre-filled with suggestions from staff. I'm going to go through the part 2 of the EAF to ask if you agree with these suggestions. I passed out the I passed out the proposed attachment for the part 3 determination of significance and a draft resolution provide as well. So I will give you the draft resolution if you choose to use if you choose to decide on and act on seeker tonight. So part 2 of the FEAF is an issue spotting exercise where the board will discuss if there are any potential impacts that need to be analyzed in more detail in part 3 of the FEAF. So question number 1, the first question involves the impact to land. Because this project does involve construction and physical alteration of land, we recommend that the board answer this question yes. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So that means we go through the sub-questions A through G. Sub-questions A through G are asking about the depth to water tables, slope of the site, exposed bedrocks, excavation and removal of natural materials, potential erosion, duration of the construction, and if the action is in a coastal erosion hazard area. Based on the information provided in the part 1 of the FEAF, the response letter from the applicant, and the scope of work and nature of the project being in an already developed urban context, I recommend you check no or small impact for all of the sub-questions A through G. And does the commission have questions?
Questions?
Does the commission agree?
Yes.
Cool. Question 2, impact on geological features. We recommend that the board answer this question no, because there are no unique geological features within or near the site. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Question 3, impact on surface water. The third question involves, rereading that. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because there are no water bodies close to the project site, and the project will not withdraw water from nearby surface water bodies. Rather, the project will utilize and enhance the existing water utility connections that connects to city water. Does the commission have questions about that?
No questions.
Does the board agree?
Yes.
Okay. Fourth question involves impact on groundwater. I recommend that the board answer no to this question because this project will be connected to the existing city water and sewer services. It is not located above any aquifers that are used for drinking water, and no pesticides or herbicides will be used in this project. Any questions? Does the board agree?
Yes.
Impact on flooding. The fifth question involves the impact to flooding. Because this project involves demolishing an existing structure and constructing a new building, we recommend that the board answer this question yes. Does the board agree?
Yes.
All right, so we'll go through sub-questions. Sub-questions A through F are asking about the floodway, floodplains, change of existing drainage patterns, and if there are dams. This project is not located in a floodway or floodplain. The project involves construction of a stormwater management tank to address on-site stormwater runoff caused by the change in drainage patterns. Per the applicant's response letter, the SWIP, which requires compliance to and approval from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Standards, the SWIP will be provided prior to building and site work permits. Thus, considering that the proposed project will have a stormwater management system, whereas the parking garage does not, I recommend you check no or small impact for all sub-questions. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Are there any questions?
No.
The sixth question involves impact on air. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because this project does not require federal or state emission permits and does not include air emission sources. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Seventh question involves impacts on plants and animals. The property is a developed lot located within a downtown urban setting. There are no threatened or endangered species or habitats on the property, nor will the action use herbicides or pesticides during construction or operation. We recommend that the board answer this question no. Does the board agree?
Yes. Must be the only property in Onondaga County that doesn't have Indian bats.
Well, it is downtown.
Don't even say it.
All right, moving on to the eighth question, which involves impacts to agricultural resources. We recommend that you check no because there's no agricultural resources in or around Syracuse. Does the board agree?
Yes.
The ninth question involves the impact to aesthetic resources. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because there are no aesthetic resources recognized on or close to the project site. Does the board agree?
Yes.
The 10th question involves impacts to the historic and archaeological resources. The project involves construction in the Armory Square Historic District and is substantially contiguous to a historic property located at 415 to 17 South Clinton Street. Therefore, we recommend that the board answer yes to this question. Does the board agree?
Yes.
The project involves demolishing the parking garage, which is a non-contributing structure in the historic district. Per the Landmark Preservation Board's review, the design of the mixed-use building is generally compatible with the character of the surrounding district. In addition, per the response letter, the applicant will take measures to mitigate the disturbance on the neighboring historic property during demolition and construction. Therefore, I recommend that the board answer no for small impact to all the sub-questions A through G. Does the commission agree?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
The 11th question involves the impacts to open space and recreation. I recommend that the board answer no to this question because there are no designated open spaces or recreational resources that will be affected by this project. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Yes.
The 12th question involves impacts to critical environmental areas. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because the project site does not contain, nor is it adjacent to any critical environmental areas. Does the board agree?
Yes.
The 13th question involves the impact of transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation patterns because it's a large project adding 88 new dwelling units and 2 commercial tenant spaces. We recommend that this question be answered yes. Does the board agree?
Yes.
The property is currently occupied by a parking structure which provides about 294 parking spaces currently. The action or the project will reduce the number of parking spaces to 88 spaces, which will provide sufficient underground parking spaces for the proposed mixed-use building and land uses. Additionally, per the response letter, the contractor will coordinate with the Department of Public Works to provide a traffic control plan prior to construction in order to mitigate the impact on transportation during construction. Thus, when considering the reduction of parking spaces, the proximity of retail services and businesses to the future residents, and the walkability of the downtown neighborhood, I recommend that the board answer no to small impact for all of the sub-questions. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
All right. Moving on, the 14th question involves impacts to energy. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because the project's energy demand can be met by utilizing existing utility services and connections and does not require new or upgrades to an existing substation or extension of energy transmission lines. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
15th question involves the impact to noise, odor, and light. We recommend that the board answer yes to this question because the project will result in an increase in noise and outdoor lighting. Does the board agree?
Yes.
As we discussed in question 1, impacts on land, The noise generated by construction will be intermittent during business hours, and a sound control plan will be prepared by the contractor prior to the issuance of site and building permits. All contractors of the action will be obliged, or obligated rather, to comply with the City of Syracuse noise ordinance. Moreover, the action will not include blasting activities. It will not generate odors, and all lighting shall be compliant with the zoning ordinance. They will submit a lighting plan. Therefore, I recommend that the board answers no or small impact to sub-questions A through E. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
All right. Moving on to question 16, which involves impact to human health. The project site does not have any history of contamination or spills on the site and is not in the environmental site remediation database on the New York State DEC website. Additionally, the project will not involve construction or modification of a solid waste management facility, and the solid waste generated during construction and operation will be removed and disposed of in compliance with all state, federal, and local laws and regulations. Thus, I recommend that the board answer no to this question. Does the board agree?
Yes.
Question 17 involves consistency with community plans. We recommend that the board answer no to this question because the action is consistent with community plans. According to the city's zoning ordinance, the proposed land use is permitted by right in the MX5 zone district, and the surrounding properties are occupied by multi-unit residential and commercial uses. The proposed land use is not in sharp contrast to the surrounding land use pattern. For those reasons, does the board agree to answer no to this question? And last, the 18th question involves consistency with community character. The project will redesign the non-contributing structure in the Armory Square Historic District to make it compatible with the local community character. The project will not create a demand for additional community service, will not interfere with the use or enjoyment of officially recognized or designated public resources, and will create more affordable housing in downtown Syracuse. Therefore, I recommend the board answer no to this question. Does the board agree?
Yes.
In conclusion, the commission, as lead agency in this coordinated review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has thoroughly reviewed all relevant materials, has taken a hard look, and analyzed all aspects of the action. For all these reasons set forth above, the commission determines that the action will not have any significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Accordingly, the commission issues a negative declaration to be filed, and notice of the negative declaration will be provided pursuant to all applicable laws and regulations. That's part 2.
Well done. Thank you very much. Just for clarification, so we already voted to be, we declared ourselves lead agency on this project. We previously voted for that.
We did vote on it.
We did it by
By the letter.
coordinated review.
Sent to the appropriate other agencies. Okay. Is there only 3 of us tonight? Do we need to make a formal motion on the resolution?
Yeah, that,
Just because there are 3 of us tonight, it might be better if we actually had a formal resolution on.
a copy of that.
On the secret.
On the seeker.
Yeah, the negative declaration resolution.
For establishing the lead agency, or we've already done, we've clarified,
We've
we've
already
already
done that.
established a lead agency. Okay, then I make a motion.
Just to adopt this resolution.
Right, understand. Right. So I make a motion to find a negative seeker declaration.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. So the resolution is adopted.
Well, Christian.
Thank you. Our next step is to make a recommendation
To vote on the site plan.
on the site plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just a reminder that there are the, as we've gone through a couple times tonight, the 6, what?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We were just, you're right, just
The
discussing.
landmark already
They approved
gave their,
the changes. They approved the changes.
Yeah.
so we're good, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
No, I was just, because sometimes after, we get through a whole meeting, we don't want to forget these. So yeah, we want to stay on top that we have 6 general conditions of approval, and then 10 specific conditions of approval, which include the 12% affordable units for the proposed 88 units, which does equate to 10.56 or rounding up to 11, as Commissioner Wentz mentioned. So
Thank you. So with
clear
that
that up.
clarification, do we have a motion?
Yeah, I move approval of MASP R-24-32 with the 6 general conditions and 10 specific conditions. The first 4 of the specific conditions are conditions related to permitting, et cetera, and the last 5 of the 10 conditions are related to the affordable housing criteria. Since there's so many conditions, I won't read them all into the record. They are on in the agenda packet.
Thank you for that. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The application passes. And again, thank you, staff and council, for getting us through that. Thank you.
I think staff is leveraging AI or something, but we're becoming pretty efficient.
Yeah.
You are. You are.
Chat GPT over there.
Well, the Fed's starting to look into that kind of thing, so, we need to be efficient.
Oh, yeah, right.
I believe there's,
CGPT.
there's still business.
Yes.
There is. One more item to go. So under other business, we have a 3-mile limit in the town of
Excuse me,
Clay.
Jake.
Yes.
Are we going to go back to,
We can make an announcement, just to see, but I did send a text to the first applicant for the first item this evening, special use permit SP-24-30, to Gregory Nyes, or Neese, I'm not sure how he pronounces it. He has not replied to my text message, and I don't believe he's here unless he's in the hallway somewhere.
Well, why don't we finish the 3-mile petition, and then we can discuss legally what we're allowed to do, since we're going to move to rescind an action.
No, that's different.
Sorry, what was the first
it's
application?
the approval of the
This is
diner.
Wolf Street.
Oh, it's Tommy's, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we had a hold, so he could review the
SEPTED.
SEPTED items. I suppose we could hold it again, and our next meeting is in 3 weeks from
We're still
yesterday.
okay on time
Right.
to have the application open.
Normally, we've encouraged you to give applicants just the second bite at the apple if they don't show
Yeah.
after that.
I do have some questions about the applicant's response to the SEPTED, so I would like to have the applicant here. I'm in favor of holding.
Okay, so we've agreed then to hold that application for the diner, to hold it so we can see the response to the report, right? The SEPTED report.
Well, we're going to hold it to have Greg present at the next meeting, I hope.
Yeah, because I had a question about 2 items on the SEPTED report and their response to the,
He's been advised
Say something.
via text that the next meeting's February 10th, so.
Okay. It's our council.
Yeah, I have a question. He was given a temporary, am I correct? So he's open. How long is this temporary for?
Yeah, so, it is a 60-day, and, as I discussed with you earlier today, it was sort of a complicated set of, it was just complex pending the existing special use permit that finally did get revoked. leading up to this moment today. So, staff would advise the board that we try to work with this applicant and get this established. I think we're better off in enforcing rules and regulations with this being memorialized and hopefully eventually approved, should it be recommended to council to do so. But I guess I'm open to any questions that you have, Counselor.
I guess, Mike, is there any concern, since he surrendered the alcohol license, is there a concern about the diner?
My concern was, and we never got an answer, number one, who is going to manage the restaurant or diner? We never got an answer. Number two, yes, he does not have a permit to sell alcohol. We never had it emphasized, can customers bring in their own booze? That was not discussed. So I'm concerned that the board is not taken for a ride. Okay, he was aware of it. He was given a temporary, which is fine. But I don't want in 3 weeks, when his temporary permit expires, to come back later.
So just to clarify, he was issued a temporary business certificate of use. So we do have our own enforcement mechanisms in place should he not follow through with the conditions. He did just coincidentally text me and say he's truly sorry, but he's been sick all day, and he apologizes for missing the meeting.
Interesting. I was over to the property at 5 o'clock and they were closed.
Okay.
Well, we'll make sure that the items
Right.
that you're concerned with, that we address those at the next meeting when he's here. I'm sure maybe you want to be here too. Hopefully you can if your schedule allows. But I'll make sure, and we can connect beforehand to make sure that the concerns you have are brought up and addressed not only by this body, but as recommendations to the council as well.
Okay.
Which can, create their own set of conditions of approval as well. So.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you have offhand, do you have the 60-day window for the temp certificate is? Okay.
No, I don't, but we can check in the morning with Code Enforcement Director Ryan Shield, and I can look it up too. But I believe we can also, not that we want to extend this, but we'll make it clear to him we need him here on February 10th. Mm-hmm. Let's put it like that.
Good.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So we still have the 3-mile limit case on tonight?
Yes, last item under other business, 3-mile limit in the town of Clay, 3S-24-21. This includes 7265 Buckley Road, 5047 West Taft Road, and West Taft Road. Excuse me. We did get approval from city engineering.
The departments have the reports, staff provided the reports from the departments in the packet. Did the other board, I only saw one letter, unless I missed it, did the other board declare a seeker on this?
They have it in the packet.
Is it, I didn't see it, is it there?
Yeah, it's in the packet.
We wouldn't
Yeah,
like.
it's
to-
Yeah, they do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
In all my excitement about being vice chair, I did not see that one, so I'm only asking.
Yes.
You're doing great.
We're so close, we're so close, almost the
I
finish
mean, I
line.
don't know about the new seats, but otherwise, we're good.
I'll bring a better battery next time. And thank you for that, staff. Any questions from the commission?
No.
Is there a motion on the 3-mile limit?
I move approval of 3S-24-21 as presented.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So the 3-mile limit has been approved.
That's it for
Anything-
tonight?
Any other new business?
Nope.
We're so close. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7:15 on the dot. All done.
Very nice.
Actually sign a resolution? Do we wait for Steve? Do we wait for Steve to come back? Yeah, I would be happy to let him do that.